Hey Tubies, it's Tally here. I am going to be doing the second part of my book series. There's actually going to be a third one down the line just because I have so many witchy books that some of them I haven't even read yet. So I don't want to pass judgment or recommend them or give you my opinion on them without having read them. In my last video, I talked about books that were witch related but not necessarily Wiccan related. And there's one book I forgot. I just found it in my bookshelf, actually. So I'm going to show you that before I get into my other books. It's called Witches of the World by Diane, Canwell, and Jonathan Sutherland. And that's the back. Again, this book is a lot about history and about witches from other cultures. I have, I believe, another book that's similar to this, but like there's lots of pictures, you know, and it's interesting. I recommend it if you're, again, into the historical context of stuff and just are interested about learning, not necessarily about the religion, but just about witchcraft in general all over the world. So, that being out of the way, I'm going to move on to books that are actually Wicca related. The first two books I ever got on Wicca and Witchcraft are kind of not high on the recommendation list in terms of hearing what other people have to say. The first book I ever got was called The Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. The reason I got that is because at that point I was completely new. I had read briefly online about what Wicca was, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something I want to learn about. And everything was like, get books, get books, get books. But, at least the sites that I was reading didn't specify what books you should get. So I went with Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. It was simple, it was easy, explained the basics without going too in depth, and it kind of was good for someone like me who was at first just interested and not sure if it was something I wanted to pursue, because whatever, it worked and it was interesting. The other book, I mentioned it in my Books of Shadows video. It's called, like, If You Want to Be a Witch, or So You Want to Be a Witch, something like that, by Edain McCoy. Again, not my favorite book. A lot of things she said I didn't necessarily believe in personally. But she did have those 100 questions to ask yourself before becoming a witch, or something like that. And the book was worth it just for those questions alone. So that was probably the saving grace of that book. Now, I don't have those two books to show you because I moved, and I didn't recently move. I moved like 2 years ago. But I have so many books. I'm a dork. I love to read. So I have like 3 giant totes worth of books in the corner of my room, and I'm sure they're in there somewhere. Okay, so I do have 5 books to show you. This was one of the first books I got, and it's Wicca, A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. I think this book is a good choice, again, for beginners, especially for solitaries. You can see it's not very thick, it's not very intimidating. It also includes his book of shadows, which includes, rituals, and it includes, like, symbols and stones, and how to make your own incense and invocations and stuff like that. So it's very informative. So this is good if you're not comfortable with making your own stuff or writing your own stuff. I suggest him because I know a lot of witches out there stress the importance of writing your own rituals, which I agree is very important. But if you're new, you don't know what you're doing, essentially, so you're more comfortable reading somebody else's and then kind of branching off from that and writing your own. So I don't see there's any problem using somebody else's ritual, as long as you understand that it's not going to be as powerful as if you did your own, and you understand that that's something that you have to work on, is writing your own. The next book I got on witchcraft was this huge one. It's The Ultimate Book of Shadows for the New Generation, Solitary Witch by Silver RavenWolf. You can see this is a monstrosity. I like this book a lot. I find with Silver RavenWolf that people either love her or hate her, because she's so commercial and whatnot. But at least in my opinion, if she's getting the information out there, even if she is commercial, she's spreading the word and not unintelligent stuff either. So I don't mind her. And I like the way she writes. I feel like she's talking with me instead of at me. But again, this book is really good, but it's just a lot to take in. And it's broken down into sections. And I'm the type of person, I like reading from front to back. I don't like skipping around. But I think this book is really meant for skipping around because there's just so much in here. Like, I'm on this section about astrology right now, and I am so lost. I'm recording everything and and writing everything, but I'm gonna have to reread it. So this book is good. Again, it has spells. It kind of has everything you ever need in here. So this is good, I think, especially for solitaries who don't have a teacher to kind of direct them. That this book would be, obviously, it's got a lot of information, so you'd be able to find most of your answers in here, I feel. So that was that. The next book I got, I buy a lot of my books off of Heft.com just because I don't have the money to go buy them from a bookstore, and I can usually get like 4 books on Heft.com for like 20 bucks, so it works. I have to wait a little longer to receive them because I have to wait for shipping, but the cost is better, so it works. So the next book I got was a recommendation, I don't remember who, but the reason why I preface this about getting my books offline is because this is an older edition, so if you were to go get this book in your local bookstore, the cover would be completely different. I have like the 90s cover. And it's To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver RavenWolf. Check out that cover. Isn't that awesome? I like this book a lot, actually. As of right now, I would say this is my favorite because compared to the giant one I just showed you, this is a lot thinner, so it's a lot less intimidating. This is also good for people who are just starting out on the craft. I mean, she gives basic overviews of gods and goddesses from the different pantheons. She summarizes the sabbats, or sabbats, however you want to say it. She gives definitions. She talks about different types of witches. But she also, like, gives you little things to write in your Book of Shadows. She'll be like, say, write a letter about why you chose this path, or talk about religion and science and their differences and then their similarities. So, I mean, this book is great, I think, especially for beginners. So, I have a friend who likes witchcraft, but she's not Wiccan per se, but she's interested, but she doesn't want to take the effort to read. So I think this is what I'm going to give her, or tell her to read, because I think it'll be an easier one. The next one I haven't read completely in full, but I'm liking it so far. It's Wiccan Beliefs and Practices by Gary Cantrell. He has something called, one of the chapters in here is the humorous side, and he talks about little funny things about Wicca, and he also talks about if you're physically challenged, how, I mean, I'm not, but if you're physically challenged, how you can adapt rituals and stuff like that to suit your needs. So far, it's very good. I like it. The last book I'm going to talk about is, as I said in my previous videos, I'm just starting divination now, and tarot is my choice. So I didn't know what book to get on tarot, so I got The Idiot's Guide to Tarot. Again, gives a nice brief overview of everything, talks about the different cards, has different exercises to do in here, and it's working out really well. A friend of mine who's really into tarot, and he does really, good readings and stuff like that. This is the book he had on his bookshelf. So, especially because tarot is very intuitive art, that when you're just learning, you don't need these books, giant books, expensive books to tell you how to read the cards. You need this, I would say, to get started, to understand the cards, understand the different meanings, and then it's from within. So that's it. That's about all the books I have that I'm currently reading or have read. So I will do a video at a later date about books that I haven't read yet. So until then, blessed be.